Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bloomfeld podcast. And I am joined by Logan and Dylan, but not exactly in that order. Say hi.
Hello. That was very loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's with this new angle with like the high energy?
Well, in the first episode I had high energy music, so I decided, how about we go a bit more high energy? It matches a bit better. A bit of tonal whiplash in the first episode.
Hello, everyone.
Son of
Yeah!
bitch.
How's it going?
Radical. Okay. So, this is the Bloomfeld podcast where we just talk about whatever, and it's usually about nothing, but sometimes it's about something. And we will bring up
It's a
two
podcast
topics.
about nothing.
Yeah, podcast about
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So we bring two topics to the table, one of which is a bit longer, one of which is a bit shorter, and I will pick out who gets to tell which topic in just a minute. But first, let's have a little small talk, gentlemen. How's everything going?
That's a loaded question.
What do you mean it's a loaded question? What the
Well, my response is pretty loaded, but
Why don't you go first then, Dylan?
just the usual shit: work life, social life balance, and shit.
Yeah, that job I was talking about the first episode, I got it, and I'm killing it. I'm pretty good at it, I think, hopefully.
He's lying. I visited him at work, and he fucking got fired first day.
I did not get fired. I
was there when they threw him out the front door.
Yeah.
I will stick my thumb in your damn eye.
No. Would you like to explain your job?
I work at a bowling alley, and
That's fun.
that's it.
He's no longer a jobless cretin with a podcast. He's a bowling alley
Job.
worker with a podcast.
I'm a
He's an
job
employed.
cretin with a podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the
Employed
club.
cretin.
Hell yeah.
I'm in school.
Yes. I should be in school, but I was too stupid to keep going. Okay, no. I'm going to go back to school eventually, but just for the moment being, not now. So
I'd say I'm fine for the most part. It's been a very interesting 2022 thus far. You know, it's currently the day before Valentine's Day at the time of this recording. I'd say my January was both very emotional and stressful, and to top it all off, I started classes the 24th, which I did mention in the first episode. I think it was, I believe, the 28th. And yeah, just sort of handling that right now.
excuse me.
Jesus Christ.
I had a
Cut that,
slice
cut
of
that, cut
pizza before I got on here.
Oh, gee, you fucking disgusting bitch.
Sorry.
Cut that? Question mark?
No, we'll leave that in. That's it's quality early 2000s cartoons humor. Anyway.
So wait, can I just
She's drinking in the
Start
mic.
I'm gonna fucking burn
Yes.
this Discord call to the ground.
Shut up.
it was apple juice. I say it's acceptable.
It's apple juice. All right. Anyway, let's pick out a topic, gentlemen. Logan, pick a number.
All right, let's see. I think I picked 3 last time, so I'll pick number 1.
Number 1. What do you want, Dylan?
I'll go with number 2 again.
All right. So I'm number 3. So I'm gonna spin the random wheel of randomness, otherwise known as Google RNG. So number 3 wins.
This shit's rigged.
It is so fucking rigged.
If it's Dylan again after you, I'ma quit. No,
I'm leaving the pod.
Hey, look, I promise.
No, that's fine.
I'm spamming this number generator like a bunch of times before I pick a result. It's not just one click. So this is the short topic, and as in probably going to be usual fashion, I came a little less than prepared this time around. But something funny, at least I always find it funny, is something that me and Logan have been talking about at least last couple of days, is the ridiculous way people spell names. So, right at the top of your head, or at least if you have any famous ones you know of, or if you want to do some research, what do you think is the most ridiculous way to spell a name? Like any name, really.
Well, I know my own name personally gets misspelled a shit ton, because my name's Dylan, and I spell it Dillon, and it's one thing if someone spells it Dylan, because that's like the most common spelling. But nothing makes me want to just cut a man's face off and wear it like a mask, like them pronouncing my name Dillion with 2 eyes. Why they add the second eye, I don't know. I really wish I did, but it's one of those things where it really shouldn't bother me nearly as much as it does.
But it's
But
just
it just,
infuriating.
I just want to punch him in the face.
I personally never had that issue because Logan, well, at the time when I was a kid, Logan was not a common name, but it's a simple to understand name when you see it on paper. The only time someone mispronounced my name was my grandfather, and it was on purpose. It was like a comedic thing where he'd call me Logan, which
Logan.
It's funny.
Like Kenny Loggins.
He called me that. Yeah, kind of like that. He called me Logan, and I don't know. It was funny because log wood. I don't know. I was a kid. It's just funny. I can't relate. I got like the simplest name on planet Earth. I mean, the only thing it make it more simple is if my name was John, which is my father's name. So,
there's some good inheritance there. And it's like, yes, what's my name, father? It's like, well, I mean, it's got to have an O in it and an N. Let's go with Logan.
Oh no, Logan was my mom's idea. My dad, much like me, God bless him, he cannot come up with more than 4-letter names. I'm pretty sure.
Let's call him Mark.
Not to go off the rails too much here with the topic, but I'm pretty sure Cody was on the docket. I think Alex was also one. It was not horrible names, but the more I think about it, the more I really couldn't see. I can't see myself as a Cody.
I can't see myself as a Braden.
Oh God, that was on the table. Braden's stupid. I apologize to anyone named Braden. I have a cousin named Braden in Tennessee, but like Braden just sounds like you wanted to name your child Bread. I'm sorry,
Nathan,
or Braid.
Nathan, when we met, if you had told me your name was Braden, I would have beat you to death with a shovel.
It just feels like someone wanted to name their kid Brandon, but their like best friend who also has a kid already had a son named Brandon, so they're like Braden.
Yes, name Braden.
It bothers me. I don't know. It's just a weird name. I'm sorry to anyone named Braden. God forbid my cousins listen to this, which I doubt he is. He's far too redneck to be listening to podcasts.
It's either that or Hunter. Like I don't know what his name about Hunter, but it just irks me.
I am.
Real Chads named their kid Gatherer.
But to go into the whole weird spelling of names, I actually found the article I read to you, Nathan, last night. So it was a Reddit post, and it's one of those "Am I the asshole?" posts, or the Anita.
If you have to ask, chances are you are the asshole. Also, you're on Reddit.
No, they weren't. Not in this case.
Not in this case.
This lady. There's not a lot of names thrown around here, and I'm going to keep it brief. But she was asking on Reddit, "Am I the a-hole for pointing out how stupid her cousin's dog name was?" And they're both in their 40s, I believe. And I'm going to find it here, so if you just give me a second. She has this habit of naming anything she owns, like children, pets, whatever, just weird names. I'm going to read this off here. She has 3 children. Stephanie, Michaela, and I think Kaylee is what that's supposed to be.
Violently.
You want to hear how these are named? These are spelled?
Oh,
I would love to hear.
Stephanie is spelled Stefanee. Stephanie. Kaylee, or Kylie, whatever this is supposed to be, is spelled KHAI-LEIGH. This poor girl has a hyphen in her name like Spightor-man.
It's got the hyphen.
Stanley would be proud.
I'm getting violently angry hearing these names.
You're gonna love this last one. You're gonna love these last 2 because the whole article's about the dog in particular. Because the dog's name was the breaking point for the original poster.
What's the dog doing?
The dog got a stupid name. That's what he's doing. The middle child, I think, the second kid's name, who I skimmed over on purpose because this is my favorite one, Michaela. MYKAIGHLAH.
I could regurgitate a can of alphabet soup and make a more coherently spelled name.
All right. Now, the creme de la creme, the cherry on top here. On top.
That would have been a really funny pun, though, if you would have kept that.
The cherry on top is Cody the dog. How do you think Cody is spelled, Dylan?
Is it CODEIGH?
No, but that's a funny guess. No. It is spelled Chode. Dylan? Mr. Dylan.
Dylan.
Yeah. Repeat that for me.
Okay. For the uninitiated at home, in case you can't spell things in your head, I don't blame you, I can't either. Chode. Pronounced Cody. No, my friends, that is Chode.
That's just straight
This
up
woman
Chode.
named her dog Chode.
Alright, this woman needs taken out back and shot.
Someone calls Jules and someone called John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction. Get this bitch out of here.
Yeah. I mean, someone just looked at the collar is like, hey, why'd you name your dog Chode? It's like, his name's Cody.
Like, my God. I haven't read the entire article, but I need to know the husband's reaction to that. Because the husband has to know. She had to know.
I mean, the husband just has to be in a state where he's just laying in bed, like, in his wife beater with a beer gut and just his boxers on. Is like, where did I go? Why is my dog named Chode?
That is a man who has been broken down mentally. That story right there is proof that being alone on Valentine's Day isn't that bad.
No, it's not. It's not the worst.
I much prefer being alone on Valentine's Day tomorrow than having to be married to a woman who named my dog Chode.
Man, Valentine's Day is on a Monday. Who the crap doing anything on a Monday? I'm going to school.
Yeah, I'm fucking working on Valentine's Day. Like,
I'm just gonna sit at home and be lonely. I guess I don't gotta work tomorrow.
hell yeah.
Go hang out with Hump.
I should probably go hang out with. We're not giving context to that, by the way. It's just gonna stay as it is.
Yeah, they'll find out one way or the other.
He'll come up eventually. He's gonna come up a lot in the podcast. He's an interesting character. We're probably gonna have to. There's gonna be a whole topic about him one day. I guarantee it.
We should just have him in here one day, honestly, just as a guest star.
He can hop in as a guest
Our
star.
Hollywood celebrity.
For research for this topic, I have looked up some articles. And this is an article on a website called She Knows. The title is These Unique Spellings of Common Baby Names Add Major Flair. And
I'm about to get violently angry again.
yeah, I mean,
is She Knows like spelled properly, or is it
yes,
like
that's spelled right.
S-E? Dang it! I thought they were gonna be like they were gonna go along with the joke.
Yeah, this was posted on July 2nd of 2020, so it's almost 2 years old. So I'm gonna look through a couple of these, and they're categorized in what exactly the name accomplishes and what exactly the name accomplishes in what it does. So the first category is add, omit, or change vowels. The first one that I would like to bring attention to is Jaden. And they bring a couple of spellings here. My personal favorite one, though, is Jaeden. This dude's got an A-E in his name. Next one.
That's not horrible, but it's...
The next one I would like to bring up is Zoe, where one is spelled Z-O-I-E. So Zoe. That's my personal favorite one for that.
What? Oh, God, I hate it. I hate it so much.
I can feel my
girl
chest.
Got 3 vowels in her name.
I can feel my chest tightening.
Like... far be it from me to judge people and their children, but I got to ask, in case anyone out there is listening who either has a name like this, which, that's not really your choice, to be fair, but if you name your kids, uniquely like that...
You just hate your kids.
Should be taken out back and shot.
Yeah.
Why? Like, why... What is the purpose of changing the spelling?
Like, do you have to just be that cool? Like... I feel like that's more of a flex that's like a parent flex, right? It's like, my kid's name is spelled differently because
allegedly, but from what let's be real. I mean, granted, maybe it's just because we're Americans and we're cynical, but let's be real here. That is That's like 8 gallon drums worth of ammunition of bullying in school.
Yeah, I mean, you're
That
just giving it to the people at this point.
That's freaking ridiculous. They will probably never run out of ammo at that point.
Nah, dude, there's no way. See, what else is there? Oh, yeah, Gunner. Which, by the way, who names their kid Gunner? That's the first thing I would like to know.
Crap.
That sounds like something Tom Cruise would do.
Tom
Gunner
Cruise.
Cruise.
That would be a cool name still, but oh god. So for this one, it's pretty simple, but they just spell it Gunnar? Gunnar?
Gunnar!
Gunnar!
I hate that.
I hate it too. Okay, so what's... Change C to K or vice versa.
Oh, no.
Colton, Kolten. Carly, Carleigh. Carleigh. Or Carly as in Karlee.
This just feels like we're scrolling on a Twitter feed or some kind of shit posting thread instead of actually.
Like this is played straight too. This whole entire thing, this article is played completely straight. Like what?
It's like a random character generator for like D&D, only it's for names.
Yeah, you just put it in and it's like, oh yeah, Gimsley Don Biggledick or whatever.
Let's just have you ever thought about what would happen to your name if they spelt it uniquely? Like, imagine my name was spelled Lowgen.
Oh,
Logan.
If I had been named
oh,
Dillion,
Jim.
I would have hung myself already.
Let's see, what else is there? Okay, the literal title of this one, whenever it comes to changing up a name, is literally playing around with X, Y, and Z.
Jesus Christ.
That is the literal title of this part whenever it comes to unique names, is playing around with. Hold on, what do we have here? Okay, Austin, Austyn.
I've heard that one before.
Yeah. Josiah, Joziah.
Josiah.
Ava. Ava is just spelled the same but with an H at the end. What does that do?
Ava.
Like what the hell is going on here? Like what? Who did this? Like I swear to God, whoever the first person to name their kid just a normal name but with a unique spelling must have really felt like hot shit and must have been like, everyone, you have to do this. It's awesome. Ruining children's futures is amazing, I swear.
It's like a parent that has their young child dress up for Halloween and they make them dress up as a toilet.
Yeah. It's like, hey, this is going to be hilarious.
Like, you're just setting your child up to have super low self-esteem. Like, there are names out there that sound weird because you don't usually hear them here in America, or you just, don't hear them that often. Older culture names can be weird sometimes.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, in certain cultures, like, I don't know, maybe let's just say like in Japanese or maybe African or just other cultures like that, where the name, it's more about the meaning of the name and not just what sounds good.
Right.
Around here in the States, names are more based off of how they sound more than anything.
Yeah.
And spelling is a big thing with that. So if your child's name is spelled Goofy, they're gonna get made fun of. Look, kids are brutal, especially at that young age. Like, as soon as your kid hits middle school, if they aren't made fun for it already, bam, they are gonna have no self-esteem from then onward, especially throughout high school. Maybe college it'll let up a bit. But if they make it that far, if they don't jump off a cliff first.
Yeah, it's a real...
trying to keep it light.
Yeah, it's a real dick move, honestly, because, again, it's just like the parents wanting to be cool, I guess. Because I don't see what the point is. Like, do you think your kid will be like, ah, yes, I love that my name is Xavier with 2 W's. It's like, I don't think anyone ever thinks that.
Definitely not. No, it's literally just because you want to be unique and special, and your crotch goblin's better than all the other ones. But really, what's going to happen is once that crotch goblin gets sent to kindergarten, they're going to be eaten alive, figuratively. Probably.
Yeah, it's bad when the teacher can't spell their name for them.
Yeah, I mean, imagine. I just imagine a teacher looking at a roll and he's just like, ah, yes, that's what the fuck is this? Like, he just looks up at his snoots like, whose crime of a name is this?
In math class last semester, in my math class, we had a girl from Africa who was living here in oops, was I not supposed to say that? Who lives here in our state.
Redacted.
Redacted, yeah. Oops. She lives here in our state, and she was, like, local to the college or whatever. And her name was Magali. I don't remember exactly how it was spelled, but it was spelled probably how you think it would sound. It's spelled exactly how you think it is. I feel like, when the teacher has to ask how to pronounce a name from a different culture, that's one thing, but, like, if they can't even help you spell it, what are they supposed to do? Do they have to call the parents and be like, yo, I need Kalali's birth certificate, bro, because I can't spell that name.
I don't know what the heck's going on here, man. I need some help.
Cut that? Question mark?
Cut that?
Cut
that. I'll think about it.
But yeah, I don't want to be, that guy that assumes, because assuming makes an ass out of you and me, as everyone says, but I immediately think of a certain type of person when I find out this kid has a special spelling to their name, and I feel bad for the kid more than anything. If I can't recall a time I've met someone with a weird spelling of their name, that just offhand, but I would just kind of pity them in a sense. I wouldn't say it to their face, obviously, because that's just rude. God, it just makes me feel weird. I don't know.
Yeah, because the thing why it annoys me so much is it feels pretentious. That's the issue, is the feeling of being pretentious, and that always gets under my skin, because that annoys me to no end when people are like that.
What's worse to you guys? A weird name like Braden or Hunter, and Braden's not even that weird, it's actually kind of common, but a name like Hunter or something like that, or a weird spelling of a kind of common name?
I think when you take a name that was perfectly fine and just add like 4 more letters in it to spell it even more difficultly and quote-unquote uniquely, that's just stupid.
It annoys me more. It annoys me more that someone butchered a completely fine name than using kind of a meh one. At least to me.
I can agree with that. At least it's not as bad as no matter who does what. I think we can all agree that Elon Musk deserves the crown for stupidest freaking ways to spell names.
What is his kid's name again?
Kyle.
It's like, Kyle, but it has I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm gonna look it up.
It's not a real language as far as I'm aware.
It's like Greek letters or something like that. I don't know.
Was it? It's horrendously fucked.
I'll look at it real quick. Hold on.
I'm looking at it right now. It was XAEA-12.
Yeah.
Yeah, that AE is pronounced Ash. Don't ask me how.
X-A-12. The X is just X. The X is just X, and the A12 is just A12.
Is this kid's name Zash?
I thought it was. I could have sworn it was Kyle.
Which, I mean, like,
it's an abomination, is what it is.
Not only did you spell the name like an asshole, but you also named him Kyle. Like, you just double whammied this motherfucker. Like, Christ.
Oh, no. It seems that, no, they played it straight. That's just his name. It is X-A-12. Oh, God.
Exash12.
Okay, never mind. Not even spelling a name. He just has a stupid fucking name.
That's just weird, dude. I don't even know what to do with that.
I'm Duck. I forgot. Ducking.
Ducking? Why ducking?
I don't know.
We ain't making this kid friendly.
We could say fuck.
I literally said in the first episode, if you're a child, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Duh.
At the end of the day, it should be said that we are all men in our early 20s. Well, Dylan's 19, but we are all young men who don't have children. So,
young man.
you know,
and barely any
we have-
responsibility.
I have a lot of responsibility. What the heck are you talking about? No, at the end of the day, we know nothing of children, and we sure as heck don't know how to name things. I mean, we took us forever to come up with the name for this freaking pod, so...
Yeah, and it's still debatably
It's
shit.
a
but I'm not
podcast
changing it
about
now.
nothing.
Yeah.
So, no offenses intended, and we hope none is given.
Full offense. Nah, I'm kidding.
Your name, but there has to be a point where you got to understand it's weird.
Yeah,
Like,
we're not
just off.
we're not making fun of the person with the name. We're making fun of your stupid ass parents.
Yeah, like
And
it's
they're
kinda
adults.
like,
We can make fun of adults.
It's kind of like I was watching Noel Miller do a video because he reacts to a lot of weird stuff, and it's polygamous, is it? When you have multiple people in one relationship?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
polyamory.
he's reacting to this, and they talk about how they get weird looks because they're a trouple, however they pronounce that,
A thruple.
a triple couple,
I think it's
and
triple.
he paused the video to talk about it just for a second, and obviously he's joking to a degree, and so are we. It's all humor at the end of the day. We're just messing around.
I mean,
But
we're
he
assholes, but we're not trying to like tear people down. Just we're having
Right.
fun here.
But he said, it's like, you have to understand that it's weird. It's like, other people don't do what you do. And to me, that's people who name their children and have a unique spelling. You're going to get called out because no one else does that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't do something like that and then complain you're getting backlash for it. Because you asked for it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right, so that was a fun discussion, fellas, for sure. But that's only the first part of the episode, so let's get into the meat, or the long topic, if you will. So I will spin the random wheel of randomness, and I also just discovered that Google has like a legit spinner, or like there's actual, you can see it spinning and like land on a number, so this feels better than RNG machine.
Who's going to win Spin the Bottle?
Ooh, who's gonna kith? All right,
Hey,
the winner...
Whether it lands on me or not, my tongue's going down someone's throat.
Hey,
yo!
Okay, so the winner is number 2.
Hey! Logan's gotta quit the pod!
It's rigged! It's rigged!
It really do be rigged.
I'm out of here. I'll see y'all later.
Oh,
No, he
shit!
left the call.
The audience won't.
cut that.
The audience won't hear that, but
Okay.
I left the Discord call.
So, you want me to do one of my long topics? Because
I-
admittedly, all of my topics are kind of
Kind of.
long.
Whatever, go ahead.
Well, the first one was the short topic, so I mean, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. I didn't want to speak out of turn and be banished to the shallow realm again like last time. Alright, so, I think, it's been out for more than long enough, but just in case, spoiler warning for Spider-Man No Way Home. So, fellas, the third of the home-based trilogy of the MCU Spider-Man films. I know you two saw it, and then I saw it a little bit later. So, what did you guys think of the movie?
Oh, it was
Oh my god.
great. It was great. Such a good film.
I really, really enjoyed No Way Home. I think that this is probably up there as... I don't know if it makes top 5 quite yet for me, because I only was seen it the one time. I gotta rewatch it, because obviously, I gotta watch it with my dad, because me and him have been watching pretty much every Marvel movie since the first Avengers. And it's a big deal to us, it's a nice common thing we do. Not so often, because, they're movies, but I love watching Marvel movies with my dad. And No Way Home is easily my top 10. It's probably high up on the list, too, like at least 7 or 6. That's actually not that high on the list, but anyway, close to top 5 is the point. When you consider top 5, it's close. It has been a while. I don't think since Avengers Infinity War, or even like maybe the first Avengers, that I was able to just sit down and like, I was on the edge of my seat for a good chunk of it because I had no idea where it was going to go, like the entire time.
Right.
And every beat of the story kept me guessing to how it was going to happen. And every time another character would come back, like with Doctor Strange's role in the film, every time he showed up, like when he just showed up when he did at the end, I was like, oh my God, he's back.
Oh.
And it really threw me for a loop at times. So it is easily my favorite of the Tom Holland trilogy of the MCU Spider-Man films. Is my favorite.
Absolutely.
I will say that Homecoming and Far From Home still are fantastic freaking films, and I'll even put Far From Home above Homecoming, in my personal opinion. But No Way Home just blows every Spider-Man movie out of the water for me. That's including Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. And I know that's a really hot topic, but or a hot take.
But that's for me personally. That's why No Way Home is the best Spider-Man movie, is because it's also just it's pseudo The Amazing Spider-Man 3 and Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and it is fantastic.
Do you guys want to start there with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's role in the film?
I kind of want to give my general overview real quick.
I thought it was good. Was your general overview?
Well, no,
okay.
No, I got more to say. I got more to say. So yeah, it is an amazing movie. I love it to death. Of course, the acting is amazing. That's to be expected from the MCU. It's a standard there. It's amazing. If you really want to pick it apart and be super critical, the main plot itself is a little cliche, I guess, and a little bit simplistic. It's just, oh no, there's these villains from these other universes, multiverses, coming into this one. We got to collect them all together and send them home. It is very basic, but I feel like that works really well for it. It doesn't get too up its ass. It doesn't get super complex. And it is completely elevated by the writing and the character interaction. So a more simplistic and generic story was completely fine for me, as long as it had good writing and character interaction. And Spider-Man No Way Home delivers on the character interaction and writing, like 11 out of 10 rating on that aspect of the movie. It is amazing. And it is filled with fan service. So much fan service, and I love it to death. Like, whenever
there was a scene they did cut where the three Peters were just hanging out, and I can't wait to get the Blu-ray and see that in the special features. That's gonna be great.
I'm gonna love that. I mean, like the scene whenever Goblin was like, I'm something of a scientist myself. I almost pissed myself. Like, my pants was almost pissed in that very moment.
I almost pulled a Pee Wee Herman right there in the theater.
Yeah, a lot of people in the theater, because just to give a bit of background here, Dylan was supposed to go with us, but he unfortunately caught COVID for the second time. Somehow. Yeah, so it was the rest of our group that we usually hang out with, except Dylan. Like 10 minutes before we were about to leave Nate's house to go get him, he texted in the group Discord, "Don't come get me, I may have COVID." And thank God you told us, because granted, I got COVID a month later anyway, but
the preventative was
affect everyone. Yeah. Oh yeah, because I'm pretty sure, Dylan, you may have had the Delta variant, didn't you?
I think I had Omicron variant, but I
okay, that's what I had. Okay, thank God. So when we went and saw it, the first time, me, Nate, and the rest of the group, people were laughing when he said, "I'm something of a scientist myself." So you knew there was a bunch of classic fans there that obviously were aware of the memes. And I'm really happy that John Watts, the director, and the writing team at Marvel Studios were aware of that. They really did show that they really, really wanted to appeal to all the different kinds of Spider-Man fans that have been around for the last 20 years that grew up with the Tobey Maguire films, or really enjoyed Andrew Garfield's take on the character, and obviously the newest fans who are experiencing Spider-Man through the MCU. And I think that that was an amazing decision on their part, and also an amazing undertaking. I couldn't imagine the stress the team was under to make sure that they captured the elements and the essence of Tobey's Spider-Man and Andrew's Spider-Man / Peter Parker's.
And at least for Andrew Garfield, I didn't really have much of a frame of reference, because I actually haven't watched either of the Amazing Spider-Man films prior to seeing this one, but I really liked his character, like, a lot. Like, I don't know there's something about just a super depressed Spider-Man that is oddly intriguing, because the whole entire time me and Dylan are watching the film, because the first time Dylan saw it, it was just me and him. Like, he just leaned in and was like, "I swear to God, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man looks like he is just moments away from just killing himself. This dude is on the edge right now."
Yeah, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, he really is. God.
Yeah, because Spider-Man isn't all just quirky jokes and har teenage drama. You know, Spider-Man can get pretty dark, like darker than Batman, if you can believe that in the comics at times. I mean, he did nearly beat Kingpin to death, I believe, because I think due to him finding out his secret identity, he attacked Aunt May, and I'm pretty sure he left Kingpin a cripple in that storyline. I never read the comic. That's just something I read online, but I know it's an actual comic. But there was a time Punisher just straight up killed the bastard. He straight up killed Spider-Man.
Yeah, and then he felt really bad about it.
And he nearly killed himself in response, but I think someone stopped him. I can't remember who, but you know, Spider-Man, he can be moody at times, and that was why people really like Andrew in the Amazing Spider-Man films, because that sums up Andrew's take on the character. He's a bit more of a down-to-earth, edgy Spider-Man.
I mean, got big boy depression.
I don't remember the directors or who at Sony was working on the Amazing Spider-Man films. Andrew was considered the best part of the movies. He was just stuck around a bad structure, and that's why now people are really, really, really hankering for an Amazing Spider-Man 3, potentially as a part of the MCU, because now since multiverse is officially a thing, thanks to the TV shows in this movie, now we can continue these universes, especially with Andrew. They want to see this darker Peter Parker, even though they sort of resolved that in No Way Home to a point. Seeing how Peter's going to move on and how, because, you know, obviously one encounter with your alternate dimension self, while life changing, I'm sure, and him getting to save MJ is probably a great way to kind of redeem himself for that mistake of not saving Gwen Stacy in his universe. But I mean, you don't just get over something like that quickly.
Yeah,
so
of course.
There's still a lot to do there.
We need the Amazing Spider-Man 3 so Andrew Garfield can just fucking murder the Green Goblin in his movies, since he was responsible for Gwen's death. Well, I guess technically, ultimately Andrew... Yeah, I think he was the reason she fell or whatever.
I don't remember Green Goblin being in the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
He is.
Okay. I've only seen parts of the movie, so I didn't know.
I mean, yeah, I did some research and stuff afterwards, because, like, I think I've seen the second one, but at this point it's been so long, I really don't remember.
From what I understand, it's a much worse movie than the first Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, because Sony won't stop fucking up, you know, masterpieces. That's why we lost Spider-Man 4.
Well, that was also due to some weird stuff with the Disney side of things, I think, which shouldn't have affected the film, but I'm pretty sure you're right. It was just Sony.
But
there's also a lot of background things going on.
Speaking of Sony fucking things up, I think the best parts of the movie, beyond even just seeing the three Spider-Men together, was seeing their villains be brought back, because we saw Willem Dafoe be Green Goblin again after 20 years. We saw Alfred Molina be Dr. Octopus after, like, about 20 years too. We saw the return of Sandman, Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man, Lizard from The Amazing Spider-Man, and then we had... those are the villains, right? I'm not forgetting anyone.
Yeah.
And
pretty sure that's right.
The first villain to show up is Doc Ock, and he absolutely kills it in that role, because he still isn't like 100% evil, because he still has some of that redemption carryover from the end of Spider-Man 2. But he's basically just like, Peter, stop fucking with me. Where's my machine? Where's the power of the sun in the palm of my hand? And then he gets
that
in
opening
prison.
scene's amazing.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off, Dylan, but I was just going to say, for Willem Dafoe and Doc Ock's Alfred, what's his last name?
Molina.
Alfred Molina. They did not miss a beat when they came back to the role.
Definitely
at all. Because I have not watched the original Spider-Man trilogy, the Sam Raimi trilogy, in many years. But I remember vividly the villains. I remember getting freaked out when Green Goblin died at the end of the first Spider-Man. You don't forget that scene when he says, "Oh," and then gets impaled by his freaking hoverboard, and the lady tells Peter to not tell Harry, and then just slams on the thing while it's still in him. And I remember Doc Ock's fight with Peter up on that one building in the broad daylight, where he just beats the snot out of him. They did not miss a beat at all. It's like they had just done their films yesterday. I was very impressed how they handled their roles in No Way Home.
Yeah, I 100% agree. from the standpoint of I actually watched the original Spider-Man trilogy with the Hump. Still no context, by the way. I watched that trilogy with him like not too long before we watched those movies, and you are 100% right. It really did feel like that the No Way Home just plucked them right out of their films directly into their universe, and they were perfect.
Oh
just
my god.
seeing Goblin powerbomb Tom Holland through 6 stories in a building is just amazing. Like,
Yeah,
oh my god.
At age 66,
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe was doing those stunts. That is hella impressive.
And that's what I love. Is literally he said, "I'm only coming back if I get to do the stunts myself." He's like, "If I get to be the one to actually powerbomb Tom Holland through 6 concrete floors, then I'll do it."
I believe
That's
every
dedication.
single one of the villain's actors had a stipulation to come back. Willem Dafoe wanted to do his own stunts. Alfred Molina wanted to have his face and such CG'd down, so they de-age him a bit.
Yeah.
So he looked more similar to how he looked back in Spider-Man 2
Which
for accuracy.
I still
which was
think
nice.
he looks good though, but I guess I can see
Oh
what he
yeah,
means,
yeah.
though.
But
Yeah.
just clean him up a bit, clean up the wrinkles and stuff.
Yeah.
'Cause, the man's in his late 40s, early 50s at this point, I believe.
I think he's like mid or late 50s actually.
And in
Oh,
another
God, yeah,
movie,
okay,
he was also
okay.
fucking Marissa Tomei. So, like,
Oh no. But yeah, and I remember Jamie Foxx wanted a better design for Elektra.
Yeah, because Electro looked like dog shit.
He did. He was
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
fan of Elektra. He hated the makeup process in particular because it took 5 hours to get his makeup done for the role. in
Imagine
Amazing
spending
Spider-Man
5 hours to look like Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man. I just...
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and his design in No Way Home is great. I feel like it encompasses who Elektra really is, especially from the comics. Like, whenever the lightning gets bunched up on his face and it looks like the star, it looks great.
As far as I'm aware, the Lizard's actor, who I don't remember offhand, Dr. Connors, did not have any special requests that I know of.
He just liked the role, I guess.
I suppose. I don't really know.
Which, I mean, the lizard did look cool. Like, in all
Yeah, they
honesty,
did
so
improve
it's
his
not a
design
bad
a
role.
bit. They made him look, just better overall.
He also was responsible for one of my favorite Stan Lee cameos in a Marvel film, even though it wasn't part of the MCU. Stan Lee always cameoed in Marvel movies before the MCU. I'm pretty sure he's in all the Spider-Man movies, like every single one. In Amazing Spider-Man 1, I think it's the first or second time Peter fights the Lizard. He's fighting in the high school, and Stan Lee is the janitor, I believe. And he's clean, but he has earbuds in, like he's listening to music. So it cuts to his perspective, like you're listening to what he's listening to. You hear his music and just muffled in the background of Peter and the Lizard absolutely wrecking the classroom while trying not to get him killed. Peter's protecting him, but he doesn't know it. And then they leave to go fight in another room. He turns around and is like, what the?
What happened here? I still think whenever it comes to the cameos for Stan Lee, that people really want Deadpool to be like putting up missing persons posters for Stan Lee. That would be really, really cute and funny, I think. But
That may happen because Deadpool 3, I think, is confirmed to be MCU based.
which
now.
that would be amazing. If you had to find any way to find something to step into the place of those cameos, that would be really cool.
I am a tad conflicted with it, just because to a point I feel like that would be funny, but also I think it would just be a little bit in poor taste.
Yeah, I can see that at least.
Because this isn't the same thing, mind you, but that reminds me that Disney still uses Stan Lee's Twitter account to promote shit, and I hate it. I hate that.
Just
that
let the
they
man
do
rest.
just hijack his Twitter account.
Yeah, I think the missing poster thing, if it was subtle enough, maybe I'd let it slide, but I agree with Dylan that they just need to let the man rest at this point. He's done enough, in my opinion. Do you guys want to go section by section of the film? You want to talk about everything that we liked about this or that? You want to talk about Spider-Man versus Doctor Strange? The Peters swinging off of each other at the end of the film, which was so cool.
Well, we'll talk about the standard 3-act structure of a film, because that's probably the best way to chop it up, I think.
Right.
All right, let's start with Act 3.
So,
All right.
Act 1, where would you say, obviously we know where Act 1 begins, it's the start of the movie, where would you say Act 1 ends? When they
the
show
villains
up?
when the villains convince Peter to work with them.
Right.
Or when Peter convinces the villains to let him help them.
Yeah, that's probably a good benchmark for that.
The movie obviously starts right where the second one left off, where Mysterio gave away Peter Parker's identity, or Spider-Man's secret identity. Who here, Dylan? Have you watched Far From Home yet?
Nah.
Okay, you should.
Mysterio just straight up doxes Spider-Man.
Yeah, and they do that at the beginning of the film. It's like the beginning of the film is ripped straight out of Far From Home, and we just get to see what happens after the movie cut to the credits, essentially. So Peter gets doxed, and then he heads back to Aunt May's apartment, and then things sort of kick off from there. I really did enjoy how Happy was still in her apartment when they came home,
and they were like, "Oh, come on!" But I thought we had something special. And then Marissa Tomei is like, "Nah, it was just a fling." And then Happy's like, "Oh, but." Oh, just seeing Happy so heartbroken that Marissa Tomei didn't want to have a serious thing with him was sad.
I'd be heartbroken too.
I mean, yeah, you're losing Marissa Tomei. I would kill myself.
What I have with Tony was special. Tony killed himself. How'd you know?
How'd you know?
He saved the entire universe once. How'd you know?
But yeah, so what did you guys think of the intro, picking straight up where the last one left off?
I was ready to throw hands within the first 5 minutes, because MJ was getting harassed on the street, and I'm like, you see, this is why I couldn't be Spider-Man, because I would just snap a motherfucker's neck right in the street.
Yeah. I personally love it when films, games, anything. I love it when they just pick up right where they left off. There's no random bullshit to pick up from, to try to glean from the time in between or anything. Just get right into it from what happened last time. So I love that aspect of it.
With how abrupt the end was, I appreciated that. I honestly wish Far From Home, or at least some part of a Far From Home, touched upon, Aunt May dealing with Peter being Spider-Man, because that was the big shocker at the end of the first film, was Aunt May saw him suit up, and we had our what the at the end of the film.
Man, they should have had Spider-Man say fuck in the third film. Stupid car honk.
I am surprised how close they get to saying the fuck word in the Marvel movies, but they never actually drop it. I think they do that because they know kids watch it. Because,
I mean, they could have one.
Yeah, they can. It's PG-13. They absolutely can, but I think they don't because of how many kids watch it, and they never really intended to go that far with it. But I mean, they can't help Deadpool. I guess they're leaving all the F words for Deadpool at that point.
I mean, if you don't make Deadpool movies rated R, you're not making a Deadpool movie. Let's be honest.
But what about what did you think of the opening? Did you say your piece on the opening, Dylan? You were talking about MJ getting harassed.
Yeah, MJ got harassed at the beginning. Yeah. I'm just like, that's why I couldn't be Spider-Man. Well, one of the hundreds of reasons I couldn't be Spider-Man. But as soon as someone messes with someone I care about, Spider-Man has the restraint, because he has the strength to just liquefy people's skulls, but he chooses not to. I wouldn't have that restraint. J. Jonah Jameson would be right about me. I would be a fucking menace.
You say couldn't, but you mean shouldn't. Maybe a little bit of both. Yeah, I agree. I like that it just picked up where it left off. I really enjoyed how they set up Doctor Strange.
Oh, yeah.
I really like how he just came in. Doctor Strange talking about his time blipped away, as they called it, from the Infinity Gauntlet snap. I really like how Wong is in charge of things now, because he was dead for 5 years.
Yeah, my man's lost the title of Sorcerer Supreme to a technicality.
Yeah, he was definitely pissed about it.
And according to Shang-Chi in The Legend of the Ten Rings, he also just goes to fight in the back streets of Tokyo. So that's
he fights Abomination.
Tokyo, somewhere in China. I'm an idiot. Yeah, was it Abomination? Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, he fights Abomination.
I thought that's who it was. He just looked weird in that movie.
He does,
but
yeah.
It was hilarious. It's like, man, I just watched Shang-Chi, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go do some Sorcerer Supreme stuff, Strange, and he's like, nah, he's gonna go fight in the frickin' pits, my guy. Although, I will be one of those people that it really pisses me off sometimes how much of a kid Peter is, especially at the beginning of this movie. When you really think about it, he could have just... If it wasn't so on the spot, obviously he would have thought about it more, and the spell wouldn't have screwed up like it did when he was trying to, have Strange fix everything. But why didn't he just be like, okay, so everyone forgets that Spider-Man is Peter Parker except for everyone who's supposed to know, Maybe he has to be a bit more specific than that for the spell to work, but it's like, this should have been simple, right?
Yeah,
Maybe obviously that's the joke, but...
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like even if you had to get specific, you'd just be like, I want everyone to forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man except this, this, and this. Set up those parameters before he even starts the spell, and you're good. But, again, that is the joke.
Yeah, and then we wouldn't get Willem Dafoe powerbombing Tom Holland for his stupidity.
Yeah,
I know,
so
but
I can let
can't
it
help but
slide.
think about that stuff. I can't help but
Strong
think about
enough
that
to
stuff.
have it all, too weak to take it.
Man, how does Green Goblin always comes in with the heavy hitter lines, dude? I don't know how
Gods
he
don't
does it every
have to
time.
choose.
Be
Yeah, we
ashamed of who you are.
It was like
Drip
a
or
few minutes
drown,
after
Spider-Man.
That was the next big scene, wasn't it? It was Doc Ock and Goblin showing up, right?
Well, I mean, we can't
After
skip
that,
over
because-
Daredevil, right?
Oh
yeah,
yes,
I
Daredevil.
forgot. We did skip over Daredevil.
Daredevil
Okay, Dylan, you
was
start.
fantastic. So, for those who don't know, there was obviously a Netflix Daredevil series a couple years ago, and then it got canceled, and no one knew why. And then Disney Plus came out. It's like, oh, that makes sense. And then it's like, okay, but like, why not? Like, if the MCU is gonna have a Daredevil, why not bring back Charlie Cox, who played Matt Murdock / Daredevil? And in the beginning of No Way Home, since Peter's basically gonna be on trial for murdering Mysterio, he talks to a lawyer who happens to be Matt Murdock, the civilian.
A really good lawyer.
Yeah, a really good lawyer. The civilian persona of Daredevil, who's basically blind Batman. They're talking and stuff, and then someone throws a fucking brick through, like, the 10th story window of their apartment. Before Peter can even catch it with his spider sense, Daredevil, without even flinching, just reaches out and catches this brick. And Peter's like, how did you do that? And he's like, I'm a really good lawyer.
I'm a really
And
good lawyer.
I'm hype as hell because, also spoilers for the Hawkeye show, that means we finally have Kingpin and Daredevil back in the MCU. And I'm
Allegedly,
hype.
because, I mean, Kingpin supposedly did get the crap shot out of him. But
Nah, there ain't no way in hell he did.
we'll see. But, yeah, that was the first time Charlie Cox got to be in the role since October 19th, 2018 was the final episode of Daredevil. And we haven't had one since. I myself haven't watched Daredevil. I want to now because of seeing him.
It's
in
a
the
really
MCU
good series.
proper. But I heard a lot of the Netflix shows were really good.
They were.
Just unfortunately we're stuck on Netflix.
Yeah. If you're gonna watch two, though,
Yeah.
definitely watch Punisher and Daredevil. Those are the two best ones. Both in casting, writing, just overall, just fantastic.
I am gonna get a little. It's gonna be hard for me to watch Punisher because I really jive with the character. But anyway, the villains being introduced, that just the random like, oh god, they're here. That really,
Yeah.
that really got me because it was like, oh boy, they're just throwing it in there because obviously we knew they were gonna have to get here when they kind of blue balled us with Strange containing the spell. But
Yeah.
I thought Peter versus Doc Ock was great, and how he just... It is something I know a lot of people are going to complain about, because people hate Tony's involvement with Peter in the MCU, but I love how the Stark Tech just shuts Doc Ock down immediately. I love
that's
that
awesome.
so much.
That's funny to me.
Nanotechnology. You've outdone yourself, Peter. Yeah, it is. The Doc Ock fight was great, like the interaction, but
He just shrugs off nanotechnology.
He
so
really does.
submissively, and it's hilarious. It's like, yes, nanotechnology.
So then we have Goblin show up and Doc Ock, the two probably hardest hitting villains and just like epic appearances in the movie. I did think it was really cool when he encountered Electro, though, that Sandman helped him out. He's like, Peter, it's me, Flint Marko.
Yeah.
You remember me? That was cool. And then like Logan said earlier, Peter convinces them to like try to let him help them to get back to their own like universes without dying, and that's when things take a turn for the dark because turns out that's not just Norman Osborn, that's the Green Goblin.
Yeah. How did they
damn
catch the
goblin.
lizard again? How did they catch the lizard again?
That was off screen. Strange was
was
like,
off
I
screen.
found this guy in the sewers.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
like, that was an off screen thing.
Okay, I couldn't remember. But I wanted to bring attention to Sandman for a minute. Why does he just become a prick out of nowhere, even though he was very, very willing to help Peter? Like, obviously he picks up that they're in a different dimension and that's not his Peter, but why does he just become so
I
villainy
think
again?
Goblin talking about how gods don't have to choose gave him a bit of a power trip, and he thought, well, I just want to go the fuck
Maybe.
home, so I'm just going to take what I want. But I don't know. I think that's just kind of where you have to somewhat suspend disbelief. God, can't speak clearly.
I did really enjoy the Peter helping the villains while they're in Happy's apartment.
Yeah, that was,
that entire
and
scene
that
was
does
great.
feel a lot in character, especially with Tom Holland, because Tom Holland is by far and away the youngest and most naive of the Spider-Men, and that mostly has to do with he's the new guy. Clearly, he's
also
the
the
youngest.
most gentle.
Yeah.
the most
Unless you're Willem
understanding
Dafoe.
Spider-Man.
My man's was not
Oh,
holding
yeah.
back in that any fight with Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, because like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield had their dark spots, especially with Tobey Maguire.
Bully Maguire.
Well, there's Bully Maguire, yes, but he just in the first movie he straight up was like, I'm gonna find the guy who got Uncle Ben and I'm going to kill him. I'm going to murder this
very
man with no
understandable.
remorse. Yeah. And so it was kind of interesting to finally see, and it does make you realize that Tom Holland, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, whatever, he never really had that super dark moment yet.
He was far less
Until-
based.
Yeah, based. Until, again, we said spoilers, but this is a big one. Until May gets killed by Green Goblin, and then he just like, I'm going to kill him. Like, that's the first time we've ever gotten Tom Holland Spider-Man. It's like, I'm going to kill someone in cold blood. And it was really easy for Toby and Andrew, like their Spider-Man, to see is like, okay, he's in his dark spot just like we were, because it's something that they had to suffer through and, push onward after. But he's in the middle of it, so they realize like, okay, this is going to get to him because, he just killed the most important person in his life at the moment, which was Aunt May.
Yeah, even though Uncle Ben is already dead at this point, but they don't really talk about Ben in the MCU.
No.
I really did like how Ned and MJ, like, their entire role in the film as a whole, but I just like how they just hug him.
Yeah.
It's very sweet before Toby and Andrew show up. And their introduction into the film, when Ned, at some point, Ned took Doctor Strange's ring and was able to open portals because, we kind of skimmed over the Peter versus Strange fight, but I love that they just casually just introduce Andrew, and as soon as that portal opened, everyone in the theater was gasping and whispering, "It's like, oh my god, it's him!" And he came through the portal and took off his mask, and there weren't many people in the theater with us that day, but a good chunk of them did start clapping, and that was great.
I just love MJ throwing bread at him, though. It's like,
I was
you
trying
have
to
the
see
tingle thing, right?
Yes, I have the tingle thing, just not
Yeah.
for bread.
And how she really wants him to get on the freaking ceiling.
Crawl on
and
the
use
ceiling.
sticky.
It's like, this is enough.
Yeah.
It's like, no, more. This is plenty.
This is plenty. Yeah, I do like how Toby just shows up in casual wear, though.
Well, I
Oh,
think
yeah,
this
and
is-
then
I
it's
like
goofy to me.
because it shows the differences. Because at that point, like, Toby's Peter is grown up. He's a grown man. He's kind of worked things out. But he's still Spider-Man, but like, he's managed to figure out the balance. Meanwhile, Andrew Garfield's on the verge of killing himself, and Peter Parker's all but gone. He is Spider-Man, and he is beating the shit out of people on the streets.
Yeah, again, this is just a little side thing. I love how before they went out to go fight all the villains in the climax of the movie, Andrew Garfield just looked at Toby. It was like, so you got a suit or you gonna come out as a cool youth pastor? And then he just pulls out a shirt. It's like, nice.
Yeah, I like
I also love
And
how
then
they
whenever-
discovered Toby had natural web fluid.
Oh yeah, it's like, how'd you do that? Oh.
It's like it's like breathing. I don't think about breathing. It's like, does it come out anywhere else?
Do you ever get a web block?
Oh, just the Spider-Men talking to each other. Oh,
lab,
Oh, and then
that was my
pointing at each
favorite part of
other.
the film. Yeah, that was a good too.
I really enjoyed the Ned conversations. Like, do you have a Ned in your universe?
No.
The reason I find that funny is because in a good chunk of universes in the comics, Ned, the character Ned, becomes the Hobgoblin.
Yes.
That was really, I don't know if that was the intention there, but that was really, really funny. But to go back just a bit, what did you guys think of Spider-Man versus Strange?
Oh,
it just made me so hyped for the next Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah. I crave, after watching Doctor Strange, because I love the Doctor Strange movie, by the way. I should have watched it. It's been too long. I just craved so badly another fight in the mirror dimension. And that is exactly what I got, and it was amazing.
That's why I loved it the most, because it was a visual marvel. Like that was the best looking part of the film easily.
Yeah.
But it's a little unfair because Strange has that advantage in any movie he's in.
Yeah.
I really did like how before the fight began, he does the whole knock your soul out of your body.
Yeah,
I love how Peter's body was dodging while being unconscious. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
So, that's super cool, but never do that again.
Now that
let's see, we're in Act 3.
Yeah, we're in Act 3.
Yeah, we're at the end game for sure.
Oh, Act 3, just so obviously the fight takes place at the Statue of Liberty and stuff, and we have the three Spider-Men working together. And at first, they do a pretty bad job because the original two Spider-Men, Tobey and Andrew, they work alone. They never have any sort of help whatsoever. And it does lead to a humorous moment where Tom's like, well, I know how to work together on a team. I'm part of the Avengers. And they're like, oh, that's great.
Oh, that's great.
What's the Avengers? And he's like, well, it's this team thing. And then Toby kind of snaps, being the most seniority Spider-Man, where he's like, how is this helping? He's like, we're in the middle of a fight.
How is this helping?
I really liked Andrew's line. Is that like a band?
Is that like a band? Are you in a band?
That is great.
And the fights were really great, but I think even more than what I loved about the fights was seeing Doc Ock and Toby's Spider-Man get to interact, and Octavius realizing that his Peter's all grown up, and he just says, "Peter, you're all grown up. How are you, my boy?" And Peter does the callback to the line, was it Spider-Man 2, where he's like trying to do better.
Yeah.
And that line just, I know it resonated with you a lot too, Nathan, because those movies came out 20 years ago. They came out when we were literal babies and children, and now we're watching them interact again on screen 20 years later. And it's like, damn, we're all grown up. So it just resonated with me a lot.
It hits really hard.
It does.
Really hard.
It was like it's like if you're a Star Wars fan and you watch The Force Awakens and you see Han and Chewie show up on the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
That's when you just feel like a kid again. And like I said, I still love the Tobey Maguire films, even though I haven't seen them in a long time. I really enjoyed the little bit callbacks and stuff because of the memes. I was caught up,
Yeah.
The coup de grace of every Spider-Man, all the Spider-Man switching villains for that bit was really cool, even though it was just Andrew and Toby's villains. I really liked watching one Spider-Man fight the Sandman, this other Spider-Man fought the Lizard, and MJ and Ned getting into shenanigans with the Lizard because they can't work the portals right.
And close it now. Come on, closing it now. There you go.
Yeah, and then,
that was really
and
good.
them fucking around with the portals and shit and getting put into the battlefield on the Statue of Liberty led to probably one of the more emotional moments of the movie, where Andrew got closure because he saved MJ where he couldn't save Gwen. So that if they do make the Amazing Spider-Man 3, which I really hope they do, I think it'll be interesting to see what level of closure he gets from that.
Yeah,
I had a friend at college say they were watching the movie in theaters, and as soon as she fell off the Statue of Liberty and Tom Holland's Spider-Man got hit and knocked out, the movie went blank for a solid 10 minutes. Which, if it were me, I would have freaking lost my mind.
Yeah, it is. God. And just the whole entire scene at the end where Tom Holland is about to just murder Goblin. And then Toby comes in and just catches it and just looking at him, just face to face.
Yeah.
No words were exchanged. Just the look in his eyes to just tell him, don't do it. It's just a look in a man's eyes that not only says don't do it, but also just, I know what this will do to you if you do it as well.
Tobey Maguire also shrugged off getting stabbed in that fight, so he just shrugged it off.
He's been stabbed before.
I mean, yeah. Toby got fucked up in his movies,
Yeah, for sure, dude. Oh, he got messed up.
All right, I know we need to wrap this up here in a minute, but I did want to bring attention, besides the end of the movie, where
Which,
Strange wipes everyone's mind for the sake
yeah.
of keeping the universes from falling apart. We did kind of skim over Aunt May. How did you guys feel when they killed Aunt May?
That was one of the. I just had a little bit of a problem with that, just because I feel like they used it just to drop the great power, great responsibility line, and then die.
Here's the thing. Aunt May dying wasn't the thing that got me. It was when Happy showed up and saw Peter, and he wanted to help but couldn't and got arrested. And in that moment, Peter was just so alone and helpless, and it just got to me.
It's not a horrible scene by any means. It is emotional still. Part of me can tell is like they really did just kill her just to make that line have more impact, didn't they?
They needed an excuse to give Tom Holland his dark moment, like you guys were saying. And I felt like it was a little obvious, but I will give them credit. It threw me off because when she got hit by the board, obviously I watched Spider-Man 1. I know what those boards have on the end of them. She got hit in the back, but then she got up and she just started walking and talking and gave their great power, great responsibility bullcrap. And I thought, oh, she's okay. And then she fell over.
They did fake you out. They made you flinch.
No!
Yeah.
They really did, and it broke my heart. It was such a good scene.
They just said psych, dude.
But the finale, the end, where Peter is now non-existent. And
Basically
living
a
on his
nobody.
own, which is partially another reason why they killed Aunt May, so they
Yeah.
finally can make Peter poor. What do you guys think of the future?
I like where it's going.
I think it'll make for an interesting next trilogy. Also, speaking of next trilogy, it will be interesting because the end credit scene. But we've given so many spoiler warnings. Like, if you've listened to this, but you're gonna get mad at me spoiling the end credit scene, just shut up. Tom Hardy's Venom actually gets sent back to his universe because he showed up and he was getting drunk. But a tiny bit of the symbiote stayed in Tom's universe. So the symbiote, at some point in the future MCU, is gonna show up, and I think that will also make things even more interesting in the next trilogy.
The future's bright for the MCU, but the fact that we now know that Tom Hardy's Venom most likely does take an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man universe, I think is another great thing. If no Amazing Spider-Man 3 happens, then Venom 3 may likely feature Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, I think either one I think would be amazing. It's just I'm looking forward to more interactions between Venom and Spider-Man on the big screen, whether MCU or the Sony verse, because admittedly Spider-Man 3, as much as I love it, I acknowledge it's not it is not the perfect representation of Venom versus Spider-Man.
One last thing I want to mention is the second post-credit scene was just a glorified trailer for Doctor Strange 2.
Yes.
Basically.
Have you guys seen the leak where Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, and Tobey Maguire are listed in the casting for that movie?
I had heard about Tobey. I hadn't heard about Andrew or Tom, but I'm not surprised.
I think it is slightly confirmed, or at least a high probability that all three of them are going to be in the next movie.
Speaking of the Doctor Strange thing, apparently there was a trailer released during the Super Bowl, which is happening at the moment, and I think Patrick Stewart's voice is heard in the trailer. So we might be getting him as Professor X. So
I swear to God, I'm a nut.
Yeah, the next Doctor Strange is just I'm looking forward to it.
Anyway, we are Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, we are way over time. That's okay, as long as we don't go for 2 hours, I think it'll be fine. So anyway, thank you everybody so much for listening. In closing, friends,
Spider-Man No Way Home almost made me pull a Pee Wee Herman.
We should have wrapped up our short topic sooner, and I'm the reason this went to overtime. No Way Home is amazing, and don't name your child stupid shit.
Don't be a bitch. Anyway, thank you all so much for listening. We will coax your ears. Whatever.
Cut that.
Listen to us whenever the next episode comes out, damn it.
Plug?
All right, yeah. Plug time, go ahead. I don't feel like doing it, so go ahead.
If you want to hear more of me and potentially see more of me, you can find me over at twitch.tv/LoganDaKid, LoganDaKidd.
And
I'm not very original, it's just my name.
Yeah. That's fun, though. I don't think Bloomfeld's very original anyway. It's just a joke on Seinfeld.
It's a podcast about nothing.
A podcast about nothing. If you want to find me, I'm not even super active, but just in case I am at some point, you can find me on Twitter at 7NateB. And Dylan, I'm going to give you Dylan's because he refuses to give it himself.
I'm not active. There's no point in finding me, but it's at Montlerius on basically everything.
Yes.
There. I did it. Now you don't have to put it. Now you can take the gun away from the back of my head.
At this point, I'm pretty sure Dylan's going to be more known for being on my Twitch page than his own.
Absolutely.
And on this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan does have a Twitch. He just never uses it.
I just, yeah.
All right.
I'll make you popular, Dylan. I'll raid you. I'll give you 2 followers.
Perfect. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. All right. Cut that. All of